Hey guys, it's Caitlin, and today I filmed this easy school makeup look. It was my first attempt at ever doing any type of real Halloween makeup, and I just kind of went for it. This was my inspiration picture. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's kind of what I went off of. But I went with a pink like contouring shade as mine. Hers was more of an orangey brown color. I think it'd look cool if you went with any color like blue or like green colors, kind of like a sick school makeup. But I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you like this kind of different video. And if you do like it, please hit the thumbs up button down below. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see how I got this makeup look, just keep on watching. So first I applied the Tarte Amazonian Clay BB Tinted Moisturizer all over my face. It's what I normally use every day as my foundation. I'm in the color Ivory. I just put it all over my face using a beauty blender. The one I'm using is the Real Techniques beauty blender. I just put it all over my face just like you're applying your normal foundation. I didn't go all out and use like a white face makeup just because this is an easy school look. And then I used a powder. This is the Naked Cosmetics Banana HD finishing powder. This one's just a tad bit lighter than my normal everyday powder. So I decided to use this one instead of my normal one, and I'm using a Real Techniques 103 Bold Metals brush to apply it to my face. And then I moved on to my brows, which are always a struggle for me because I am not good at filling in my brows. But I'm using the Benefit Me Brow, and this is in like the medium shade, to just kind of fill them in a little bit and make them look a little bit nicer than they do currently. And as you can tell, it takes me a little bit to get them looking semi-decent. But we get there eventually. Alright, next I am starting in on the eye look, and I'm using a BH Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. It is the Neutral Eyes 28 color eyeshadow palette. I think it's just a pretty cheap eyeshadow palette. I got it at like Charming Charlie's, I think, but you can buy it online. And I'm taking the pink shade in there. I don't think any of the shades have names, so I'm just going to try to describe them as best as I can. And I'm just using an e.l.f. makeup brush. It's the blending eye brush. And I'm just sweeping the color all over my eyelid. And I'm also bringing it out slightly from my eye in like a winged look. And it's a really exaggerated wing out from my eye of the color. And I'm just building up that pink on my eye right now and out in that wing. Trying to get them match the best that I can. Next, I'm taking the Alice Through the Looking Glass eyeshadow palette from Urban Decay, and I'm taking the shade Mirror. It's like a gray shade, and another e.l.f. Eyeshadow brush. This one doesn't even have a name on it, it just says e.l.f. Professional Eyeshadow Brush, and just blending that into the crease of my eye to add in some dimension, and also bringing it out into that wing as well to help darken it slightly. I'm then taking the Tartlet palette from Tarte, and I'm taking the shade Fashionista. Wow, why can't I talk? And it's like a black shade, and blending that into my crease as well with the first e.l.f. brush that I used, the blending eye brush, just to add even more definition and bringing that out into the wing as well. Just basically want to keep adding, making it more and more dark, just because you're basically wanting to make your eye look hollow like it would in a skull. So you just want to keep layering on the black shades and blending them together. I then, using that same black shade, Fashionista from the Tartlet palette, I used the second e.l.f. brush, which is like more of a dense and flatter brush. Just took that black shadow and just packed it on my eyelid, just to make it as dark as possible. Just pat it on both my eyelids, and then I went back and blended out the edges just to kind of make it smooth and blend it into the rest of the eyeshadow, just to not make it so harsh and rough looking from packing it on, just to make it look cohesive with the rest of the shadow, and blend it out into the wing as well. It obviously just adds to that dark hollow look that you are going for. I then took a eyeliner from the brand Julep. It is the Kajul Eye Glider. It's actually a double-sided eyeliner. One side's brown and one side's black. But I took the black side and filled in my lower waterline, and I also filled in my top waterline, just so that there was no skin showing. Next, the eyeliner that I used is the L'Oreal The Infallible Black Buster. It's a really has a really thick like nib to it. It's basically like a marker that you're drawing on your eyeliner with, and I drew on a fairly thick line. You're not going overboard, but you're not also drawing on a really thin line. It was just a fairly thick line, I guess. And I did draw out a wing as well to each side, following the wing that you drew on with eyeshadow. And I did draw a fairly exaggerated wing with the eyeliner as well, just to kind of match. I then decided to add on a bit more of the Fashionista eyeshadow, the black one from the Tartlet palette. Don't know why I can't say that word, but just to kind of add to the darkness, to kind of match it to the eyeliner, because it just kind of looked gray next to it at this point. So I just wanted to add in more black. I then applied mascara to my top and bottom lashes. I'm using the L'Oreal, I believe. Yes, L'Oreal Voluminous Butterfly Sculpt Mascara. I really like this mascara. That's what we're using. It makes your lashes really long and full also, so it really exaggerates them, which is what we're going for this look. I then took that same black shade from the Tartelette palette. Look, I can say it, I told you. And I took it with that same e.l.f. brush, the second one that's more dense and flat, and took it underneath my eye to. I then went in and added the nose of the skull, and for that I used the Illamasqua eyeliner Precision Ink eyeliner in the color Abyss, which is just the black color, and I just kind of drew out the nose. I made both the sides, wow, a little uneven and just filled it in. I then didn't want my nose to be shiny for this look, so I took the black shade from the BH Neutral Eyes palette and just kind of took an eyeshadow brush and brushed it over that just to take some of the shine away. I then started to draw out the jaw of the skull, and I used that same black shade from the BH Cosmetics palette and the e.l.f. brush, and just kind of traced out where I wanted the jaw to be and where the cheekbones are. And I took a little bit and also put it on my chin to kind of contour that a little bit. I then went in with the pink shade and an eyeshadow brush from, I don't know what this brand is, it's just called Angled Eye Brush, and I don't know the brand, but I just took the pink shade from the BH Cosmetic palette and just kind of took it around the black on my eyes, just because the pink shade had kind of gone away after I built up all that black. So I just kind of wanted to add it back in around the edges. So that is what I did. I just went above the black, below the black, and I also took it up around my nose, as you can see it that I'm doing there. Just because I wanted to um, give my eyes a little bit more of a triangular shape and kind of make my skull look a bit angry. So I brought it up past my nose a little bit. And I also added some pink in around the black on my chin to contour in that area. I then took a brush from the brand Royal and Langnickel. I don't know the brand. I think I got sent this brush, but it's the Precision Angled brush. And I took that same pink shade from the BH Cosmetics palette, and I just started working it in where I had drawn out the uh, jawline, the cheekbone line for the bottom of my skull, and just started working it in and trying to add in some dimension to that part of my skull. I just kept building on layers, and I would add it to the top and then bring the color down, just because I wanted it to be darker at the top and lighter at the bottom to add the depth that way. I also added a little bit of the pink around my nose to add a bit of depth around that as well. And then I went in and added some of the black shade from the Tartelette palette up around the area where I brought the pink up above my nose to add some of the dark up there as well, to add more of the triangular shape to my eyes, just so there wouldn't be just the pink shade, there'd be more of the dark as well. I then took that same gray shade mirror from the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette in this brush from Luxie, the Duo Fiber powder brush, and started adding some of that gray into the bottom of my skull to add a little bit more depth with the darker color. I then took a larger angled brush, also from Luxie. This is just a large angled brush, and a pink shade from the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette called Cake, and added that to the bottom of the skull as well, and just started blending. I'm using that same color here as well, just with a smaller angled brush, just adding that color and building layers to add more and more depth to that area. I then took that same large angled brush and took that same pink shade from the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette and added it to my temples to add a hollow look there. Again, you want to try and have the same effect where it's darker towards the middle and fades out. Here I'm going back in again with some of the gray to add more of the darker color on top of the pink. And then I took some of that gray shade as well up on my temples, just to, again, make them look as hollow as possible and not just pink. I ended up adding too much gray on the one side and just blended and blended until it looked right. And again, the key is really to just keep adding layers until you get the effect that you want. I then took my NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette and a Real Techniques setting brush and took the lightest color and just highlighted the areas above where I had just contoured to kind of add just that little bit more definition to the hollow areas. I then took just a little bit of my foundation and added it over my lips with a little bit of powder to take the color out. With that same Illamasqua eyeliner, I then started adding in the mouth. I just drew a line to start out with, just in like a smile basically. And then I went in and started drawing teeth, which again, just drew little lines. I wanted to make this as easy as possible. I am definitely not a professional. My lines did not look great, and I messed up on a few of them. Then you just match your bottom lines up with your top lines to give it the teeth effect. And here is my final product.